Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure. Yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here, based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me, absolutely happened to me. For years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Welch's knows some things make zero sense, like why the algorithm knows your music tastes better than you do. But zero sugar and full flavor? We made that make sense with new Welch's Zero Sugar. All that passion fruit or tropical punch goodness and none of the sugar. You gotta sip it to get it. New Welch's Zero Sugar. Let's fruit stuff up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder Express.
Yay, and choo-choo.
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us. All aboard the murder train, pulling away from the station. We have a very wild one today. Bit of a famous case, actually, today. And we're going to try to tell it in our way. So that's how we do this. It's honestly crazy stuff. It spawned movie idea. The Coen brothers saw this and went, now that's something.
That's a thing.
This is something we can do that's pretty weird. We'll get through the top very quickly here. Definitely shutupandgivememurder.com. Tickets for live shows, April 5th, April 6th. We are Sacramento, San Francisco. It's
here. What are you doing? Let's go.
If you're listening to this right when it comes out, go to the theater. What are you doing? Get there.
We're about ready to go.
Get there right now. We're backstage. There's music playing. Let's go. So do that. Rest of the year, tickets all on sale. Tickets are selling out for some shows already, so get there. Even the ones at the end of the year, New York and Boston, get there.
Thank you
for doing that. April the 20th, the 420 virtual live show, Saturday night, April 20th, just like a regular live show, except you're in your living room. Drinks are on you. whatever you want to do. Your own food, your own comfy chair, do whatever you want. Anywhere in the world with internet, you can see the virtual live show. It's available for 2 weeks after that, too, so you can buy it or watch it 100 times. Do whatever you want to do with it there. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com is where you find all that. Patreon.com/crime in sports. Bonus stuff. All you got to be $5 a month or above, and it's a cup of coffee, really.
Yeah.
Or hundreds of bonus episodes, including new ones every other week. This week is no different. What you're going to get this week for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about Hans Niemann, who is a chess player who everybody thinks had a vibrator up his ass to cheat at chess. It's a wild story, and we'll go into some other board game cheating scandals as well. Yeah. And then for Small Town Murder, everybody's heard of this, and I've been wanting to talk about it for a long time. We're going to talk about D.B. Cooper and what our opinions are, and let's see if we can solve this bad boy. We can't. Spoiler alert, we can't. But it'll be very interesting to talk about. Very interesting. He jumped out of the plane. We all know what it is. Patreon.com/crime in sports is where you get all that. That said, I think it's time, everybody. Let's do this. Let's all clear the lungs here. Arms to the sky, and let's all shout. Shut up and give me murder. Let's do this, everybody. Let's go on a trip, shall we?
Okay.
Let's go, Jimmy. We are going to Connecticut this week.
Yeah, it's a lovely place.
Not very far from here. We're going to Newtown, Connecticut, which we've all heard of.
Boy.
Yeah, it's not that one. Don't worry.
It's not that case?
Not that famous case. No. Not that. No, we're not doing that.
No,
one. That's just
never.
a lot.
I don't even
want to talk about it. I don't even want to know it exists. It's bad.
Yeah.
Population.
But it does. God damn it. It does.
Oh, it certainly
100% it does.
It does. Population here, 19,521.
Is that right?
So, yeah, it's a pretty small place. It started out, as we'll talk about, as a suburb of Danbury. So it's not. Yeah. It's a pretty small place. Median income here is high. Median household income, $133,991.
They are crushing it.
Connecticut's an expensive place. It really is. And it's nice. Things are nice there. When you drive on the highway, I've said, you cross into Connecticut, the road gets smoother immediately.
Yeah. That 130 does not go far.
No, it doesn't. Median home price here in this town, $531,100. So pricey. It's about 2 hours to New York City, about 20 minutes to Danbury, and an hour and 15 minutes to our last Connecticut episode. Episode 433, that was in Willington. That was a ghost with a samurai sword. That was a crazy-ass episode. Connecticut, for a bunch of rich people, they have some weird-ass murders, man.
That money will drive you nuts.
It'll drive you to murder with a samurai sword. So let's talk about a little bit of history here just for a second. The low of people here was in 1930. They had 2,635 people here in 1930. So that was their low. And at that time, they had local industry. They started to grow a little bit more. They made tea bags and furniture and combs, fire hoses, boxes, pre-folded boxes, buttons, and hats. That's what they were making here.
Yeah.
The game of Scrabble was developed here in this town.
Stop it.
Swear to God, by James Brunot. So there you go. And then they started after World War II. There was all the highway developments, and then it became a suburb of Danbury. And so we know that so far.
Here we are.
December 14th, 2012, of course, was the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. That happened here as well. That's why if you go Newtown, that sounds familiar. This is why. Reviews of this town, we'll go through them quickly here, and they range. 5 stars, quintessential, they call it the quintessential Connecticut small town. It not only has fun local events and parades year-round, but also stunning historical buildings and amazing shops.
Yeah, but more importantly, those fucking woods are gorgeous.
Oh, it's pretty there. Yeah, you drive.
Holy shit!
To Northeast, the woods are everywhere. The woods are pretty. You go down south, Northeast, anywhere you drive with woods, they're pretty.
So thick.
They're thick.
So
they're nice.
Thick.
Yeah, they're very pretty. 3 stars here. Living in Newtown as a young adult has been hard. There are very little nightlife. Jesus, and entertainment options.
maybe you should be in school instead.
That's you should go back to English class. But he says and entertainment options, so I guess it's technically correct. It is a beautiful location surrounded by lush woods, there you go, farms, and filled with a great community. Chock full of a great community.
Fantastic.
Here's 3 stars, very short. One very bad incident ruined it. Well... That'll leave a bit of a stain is the problem. Yeah, that's tough.
Have you heard of Amityville? I mean, things happen.
There you
I don't
go.
know what to tell
Amityville
you.
was a very nice place in Long Island until the 70s. That was a 2 stars. Other than the Sandy Hook onlookers, there is none. I don't know, none what? They don't say people. There's 19,000 people. Are they all just looky-loos? I don't know. 2 stars, finally. It's a typical New England town. Yeah. That's all. So there you go. People like it. Some people hate it. That's what it is. Things to do here. Not a lot going on in terms of stuff. It really is kind of a quiet. It's a place to live.
It's a sleepy joint. Yeah.
It's a place to live well. It's not a place to really hang out and party. But they have the Newtown Arts Festival, of course.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The Newtown Arts Festival is the art event of the year. It's a 3-day art event focusing on bringing the community together to enjoy local talent in art, dance, music, and food.
Jesus.
Sounds like I would hang myself if I had to. No offense. I'm just not a big art guy. I don't know enough about it. And if there's art and then dancing, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck people are talking about.
And if somebody's standing outdoors saying, this is my art, I tend to go very dismissive on it.
I just don't know.
If it was good, it would be in a building.
It could rain. You know that? It could rain on all over your stuff.
Yeah. Anytime it's really bad for art? Fucking water.
Like normally, great works of art are normally housed indoors. But
under fucking glass.
I get it. Here's somebody has this to say about it. The festival was organized and conducted beautifully and ranks in the top 3 shows overall that we have participated in over the last 11 years. That's very specific. Top 3 in 11 years. I don't know. So they're in their 11th year of the festival. There it is. Yeah. They say the magic that results from this festival is truly inspiring.
Well, what is that?
Let's get inspired. You know what inspires us, though?
What is that?
Talking about a murder. Let's talk about a murder. Never mind this art stuff. Okay. Yeah. Let's get into this. Let's talk about a murder. This is a weird one here. Okay. Let's talk about Hell Lorch Nielsen, first off.
Hell Lorch.
Helle.
That's her first name.
Yes. She is born in Denmark, this woman.
Okay, that makes sense.
Born in 1947 in Denmark. She was born in Copenhagen, I guess, and grew up in a small village in Denmark, which is that's a snow globe, right? She just grew up in a snow globe. I feel like, right? That's all it could be.
It's Leo's mom from Catch Me If You Can.
So, maybe something like that. She's known as a very outgoing kid, and she liked going to school more than the other kids. She was real happy. She's very good at learning languages. When she was a teenager, she learned French and English. Yeah. And in addition to being able to understand German, Norwegian, and Swedish as well.
Fluent in all 5?
That's a lot. Yeah. And that'll come in handy because she's going to be like an international flight attendant. So it helps to speak multiple languages here. She attended college in England. She worked as an au pair in France, taking care of people's kids. She's very pretty, too. She's blonde. The whole high cheekbone, she's a Danish, tall, blonde, hot Danish girl.
Flight attendant.
Flight attendant from back then in the 60s.
She's not a nanny, James. She's an au pair. She's hot as fuck.
Yeah. An au pair is a woman you worry that your husband's going to cheat on you with. Yeah. That's an au pair. A nanny is like... A nanny is like a haunchy, a nanny goes at least like 220. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A nanny has thigh high stockings. Yeah.
Thigh high stockings. With hair coming down off them.
Thigh high tights.
Yeah.
An au pair has thigh high stockings.
At least one large hairy mole as well. The au pair dresses like Alicia Silverstone in Clueless. That's the difference. That's different. It's a very different.
What au pair?
And I'm going to give you a quote here. Her high cheekbones, long blonde hair, trim figure, and a warm, engaging smile turned the heads of men whenever she entered a room.
She's hot as shit.
She's hot as shit is what that says. While she's in France, she gets a job as a stewardess at the time with Capital Airways. And she flew all over the place, Africa, Germany, Belgium, flying everywhere. That's when she heard that Pan Am was looking for stewardesses in the Copenhagen area. Yeah. Now, Pan Am at that time in the 60s was the airline to work for. That was like in terms of like the cachet, like that they had handsome pilots and these, hot stewardesses at the time. And that was the way to go here. She was one of 8 candidates selected out of a group of 200. Wow. They used to have huge like tryouts for like week-long tryouts. Yeah.
Turned away 192 of those chicks. Jesus.
Yeah. And they had made it through the initial screening.
Right.
So these are all 200 smart, attractive young women, and they said 192 of you aren't good
Not
enough.
hot enough.
Not hot enough to serve coffee in a metal tube. What a weird thing.
They really sold that job as something great.
Oh, glamour. Go all over the world, meet exciting people. And back then I read the book, what is it, Fly Girl is it called, I think? The book. It's a book about a woman who was a flight attendant back then. Yeah. And she went through all the process, and she said all the girls back then were just talking about, I want to get in first class so I can meet a husband. That's it. Oh. That's in the 60s. That's what women were. A lot of these women were being flight attendants. Some of them were, interested in careers and stuff. But they said like 90% of them were married and retired by 27. Mm-hmm. They would marry.
Now I always cross my fingers to get bumped up to first class because that's where the nice flight attendant is.
That's where the one who grudgingly, they'll grudgingly, fuck that. I use the card to get the miles. I'm doing what I can because
I want everything up front.
Yeah, they will.
Everything up there is nice. Yeah,
be nice to you.
The people in the back, that lady cannot give a fuck about you.
There's so many of you. She just throws handfuls of packaged fucking pretzels and nuts in there. Just handfuls. You guys fight over it like we're a pack of monkeys. So she's taken to Miami with the airline for her training. So she had prior experience. She's already a flight attendant, so it was very easy for her to. She was finished first in her class. She was top of the heap here. She stayed in a small motel in Miami near the airport, which was all the airline employees lived there. Pilots and stewardesses. It was like an Olympic village, basically. And they said it was just pilots and stewardesses just fucking
banging away.
Carnal fucking craziness.
Just, I mean, smell it. Yeah.
In the morning, the pool would probably have a film on top of just a jizz film, I think, back then, too. We're talking late 60s.
Forget it. Yeah.
My God. One friend said, she didn't tell you the intimate things about men she saw. She was far too cautious to have been promiscuous, but she had a few lovers.
That's a lady.
She was
what a
European.
wonderful person. Yeah,
she's also like European, and well, I mean, shit, it's the 60s. Fuck your way through all of them. Who cares?
Yeah, it's my business, not yours.
So they said that they liked airline pilots. The stewardesses really wanted to hook up with the pilots. They liked them a lot too. And on May 24th, 1969, she meets a young man here. She's 22, he's 31 at the time, and he is a pilot.
Yeah.
His name is Richard Crafts. So Dick Crafts here.
Yeah.
Old Dickie Crafts. They said he was kind of like, he had like the 60s. He was a pilot, so you're kind of clean cut, but he had like, his hair a little messy.
A coif, yeah.
A little unkemptness, like a little, just a little rock and roll
I don't
to
give
him.
a fuck.
Yeah, that 60s, like, ooh, I bet in his off time he goes and like sees like a Grateful Dead show probably or something. Like,
he might wear a leather bracelet when he takes that thing off.
Yeah. When he unbuttons his pilot dress shirt sleeve, he pulls it up. There's a leather bracelet on there with a roach clip in it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Hemp on the other side.
Built-in roach clip, definitely, for sure.
Hemp rope anklet, this guy.
Yeah. And he wears Birkenstocks while he flies.
Fuck yes.
So they said he was a little rough around the edges, not the stereotypical pilot. Mm-hmm. He's about 5'8", kind of a medium frame guy. Nothing
my kind of guy. Yeah.
Doesn't like stand out as like a giant guy or a tiny guy or just average cat. He said he's kind of attractive though. He's always got a woman near him, which he's a 60s pilot, so it's easy to attract. Yeah. He would date exclusively flight attendants. That's what he was into, pretty much.
That's it.
Yeah, and he would tell all of these extravagant tales. These long stories about his CIA involvement. Apparently, from what we understand here, he worked as a part of the Air America program, quote unquote, that would do the illegal bombings of Laos in the Vietnam War. He was part of that.
Wow.
So, he tells stories about that being CIA and all that kind of thing. Dude. He was born in New York in 1937. He's got a couple brothers. He's got two older sisters, I'm sorry. His father was a very successful businessman in Manhattan. So he grew up kind of a rich kid. His dad had bought a giant house in Connecticut in a very affluent community. And his dad was a former World War I pilot and a college football player.
Oh.
So, I mean,
cream of the crop.
He's just the coolest guy ever. When I was quarterbacking my college team after I got back from flying a bunch of sorties and bombing the Kaiser, Jesus Christ.
Finish up the national championship at Pitt.
Yeah. Oh, imagine having to live up to that. You're the only son, too. Holy shit, that'd be brutal. So he went to private school, Richard did, but he wasn't very good at it. He graduated, ended up going to the regular high school to graduate because they were like, well, if you're not even going to get A's in private school, there's no point in having you in here.
Why am I spending this?
Yeah. He went to college for a little while, but then dropped out and just joined the Marines in 1956.
He dropped out. Yeah,
quit it. He liked aviation, which I assume growing up with a dad who was a World War I pilot.
Very easy, yeah.
World War I pilot, that's ballsy, too. That's like dogfighting the Red Baron.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
James, the gun was
Snoopy?
In time. Yeah.
That's what they're, that's a fucking,
it's a biplane, for Christ's sake.
What Snoopy's pretending to be is what he was.
The gun is in time with the rotor or the propeller. So the bullet goes, it shoots only when the propeller's clear of it. It's frightening.
Insane. It's
frightening. If that gets out of time, then what?
Oh, you're screwed. Yeah, you're
going to
crashing.
Tear apart your fucking propeller.
Also, people are shooting at you while you're up there.
Right.
It's the other problem. It's not just your gun you have to worry about. There's a bunch of German guys trying to kill you. So that's not good.
All right.
So he got into aviation and became good at flying helicopters. And then he trained on fixed-wing aircraft and then became certified as a pilot in the late 50s. He was transferred to Korea and Japan while he was in the Marines. He flew planes for Air America, which was a branch of the CIA at that point, basically.
Yeah.
And that included the Laos, Vietnam bombings and things like that. He, they say he was wounded during a mission over Laos, but we don't know if this is true or not.
Okay.
So he ended up returning to the United States in 1966. And he gets a job as a pilot very quickly and easily.
I'm sure, yeah.
Because he knows how to fly. And, so he gets a pilot's job with Eastern Airlines in 1968, which is an airline that went out of business probably 91, 92.
Yeah.
Like when I was a little kid, we went to Florida once, and it was on Eastern Airlines. I remember.
Probably just right up and down the East Coast.
It was mainly New York, Florida. New York, Florida, New York, Atlanta, like that kind of shit. That's where it went.
Yeah.
That was Eastern. But it was a big airline at the time and very busy. Yeah. It was, the East Coast airline. So he's making a comfortable living. He's a pilot.
Sure.
He's doing great for himself. So he meets Hel here in 1969. He was already engaged when he met her.
Well,
but he meets this, smoke show Danish broad, and he's like, hold on a minute. Maybe I've
look at her.
Maybe I've been hasty. You know what I mean?
I may have jumped the gun.
Yeah. And she didn't mind, though, that he was already engaged. She started seeing him, and she had a very casual attitude about the whole thing. And she knew that he had relationships with other women. She's not jealous. That's one thing about her. And she's confident, maybe. Maybe that's it. She's
she's like, I'll throw you away and get another.
You're coming home to this, probably, I would assume. You're not going to, please. I know what first in my class. Yeah. First in my class of hot chicks. So I know what I'm doing here. Her friends didn't really understand why she was so into this guy. They're like, she can have any guy she wants, basically.
Yeah.
Why is she like this guy? Her friends didn't like him at all either. But in 1975, after they've been kind of seeing each other for years now, like 6 years.
Wow, 6 years.
She becomes pregnant with his child.
Oh.
And so they get married in November after she finds out she's pregnant. Yeah, I guess narrowed down now. So then they bought a one-level ranch home in Newtown, Connecticut, and she had her child, and they end up having 3 children overall here.
Yeah?
In their marriage. She returned to her job as a stewardess and hired an au pair, which back in the 70s, a married stewardess with children was very rare.
Really?
Very rare. Yeah, it used to be a rule. In the 70s is when they changed the rule where you could still be married and get hired. Before that was part of it. If you were married, they wouldn't hire you.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, they don't want you.
They want
you're
you
not
to flirt
gettable.
with the passengers.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
need
they
you
want.
to be gettable.
Yeah. They want to sell this fantasy of not only are you going somewhere to an exotic place in the air and you'll be served, it's going to be a hot chick serving you who's single.
Right.
Maybe you can take her home in the next city.
Air Hooters. Yeah.
Exactly. Fucking
yeah, that's how they've been selling chicken wings for 30 years.
What was it? Lukewarm. What is that? And I know this Hooters is. It's not on Hooters, but it's an old joke that someone said, lukewarm cheese sticks served by prostitutes. That's Hooters. Now, I know they're not prostitutes, but I'm just saying that was the joke.
That's the idea. Yeah.
That's what the general thought of it was.
Right. That's the market.
Society.
And if you don't believe it, then go look at their clothes.
Yeah. Otherwise, they'd let them put clothes on.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So she hires an au pair as well. Mm-hmm. And he's a pilot. She's doing that. They hire a 19-year-old au pair.
Oh, boy.
And together at the time in the mid-'80s, early 80s, they were making together about $125,000 a year, which that's a lot of money in the 80s. It's good now, but I mean, back then, that was a lot of fucking money. It was really crushing.
My family was dreaming about it in 92, and I was like, how much? Jesus.
Back then, this was their, top 5% of people in the country. So Richard does all the finances, and he loves collecting guns. He spends a lot of money on guns.
Really?
Yeah, he's got a collection. He likes to collect them. He had several shotguns, dozens of handguns, a lot of 9mm, 44, 357s, that kind of shit, high-powered rifles, all sorts of stuff, hand grenades, crossbows.
What?
Yeah, he's been in war, for Christ's sake.
But I think those are still illegal.
I don't think you can have live hand grenades, probably. You shouldn't be able to anyway.
Pretty sure that's what started the Waco thing.
Yeah, oh, shit. But he would spend, they said that was his hobby, was cleaning and polishing his guns. And, because when you have tons like that, you have to keep, it's like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. You got to just start, you're done, you start back over, get to the beginning again. That's what they do. They just keep going.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was doing all of that, spending a lot of money on that here, a lot. Now, she, during this time, started appearing in public with bruises on her face from time to time.
What?
Yeah, and she told one of her friends that Richard was physically abusing her.
Oh, boy.
And they also said that he was mean to her during her pregnancies. She told a friend that she would never forgive Richard for what he put her through when she was pregnant. Oh. She said after the children were born, Richard would just disappear for days at a time and then just come back but never say where he was. He's like Don Draper from Mad Men.
Who's he think he is?
He comes back like 4 days later. He's like, I was working. Don't worry about it. Like, what?
I was busy.
Yeah.
I'm not now. That's why I'm here.
Crazy. I just went to California and, came back and met another woman and all this. But don't worry about it. I'm home now. It's good. So they said he would just pack his bags and leave, and then he would come back. She never knew if it was business, a gun show, hanging out with some broad. Who knows? He'd do all of that shit. Yeah. He controlled all the money. He made her pay for all the house expenses, and he just spent his money on guns and bullshit. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. He bought all sorts of landscaping equipment and tractors and mowers for some reason. He bought a $25,000 backhoe, which he never used. It was still had the tags on it sitting in the yard. He just bought it. He was like, look at that. Pretty.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Cat 310. Enjoy
it. What he was like. Yeah. His neighbors would complain about all the shit he always had in the yard because he always had all this equipment.
Because it's trash.
He wasn't even using it. So he becomes an auxiliary police officer in the Newtown Police Department in 1982.
Uh-huh.
And he's one of these guys who acts like he is, Joe Friday when he's an auxiliary police officer, but he's like Mr. Cop. Yeah, like all the other cops roll their eyes at him like this
Take it
fucking
easy,
guy.
Tackleberry, you've got a backhoe.
That's who. Yeah, dude, your lawn is just littered with fucking landscaping equipment. Suck a dick, bro. They said he was always at the police station, even when he was off duty, and sometimes responded to police calls without authorization. He'd just show up because he heard it on the scanner. So he just got in his car and drove over there.
What a fascinating man.
He's a weird guy. Yeah, we'll talk about this. In 86, he was hired as a police officer in the nearby town of Southbury, and he made $7 an hour doing that.
What?
Yeah, he was an unpaid auxiliary officer for Newtown. He paid his own way for all these expensive training seminars on police procedures that he didn't have to do. Use of lethal force and all this stuff. And he paid like all these. It's normally expensive because departments pay for it if you need it. But it's a small town police force. Generally, it's not that, in the 80s, it wasn't that big of a deal. So they said that he had he's just so into his police duties that it creeped all the other cops out. He even bought his own 1985 Ford Crown Victoria, the same cars that the Connecticut State Police used. His own one, and outfitted it as a police car at his own cost. Multiple radios, antennas, police lights, and a siren, all at his own cost. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show. If you're a cop, you're allowed to do that, right?
Yes, but normally if you're a cop and they need you, they give you a police car.
Yeah,
that's how it works usually. They don't say, when you apply as a job as a policeman, they don't go, where's your car? They usually assign you one, I would imagine, right? If you're
I'd like
necessary.
to be on the SWAT team. Where's your battering ram?
Yeah, do you have a ram? Well, we're looking for a guy with a tank if you know anybody. That's because we need one of those. So he continued to see other women, too, during this time. And she was aware of the infidelity. His wife is aware of it and tolerates it and kind of just ignores it, basically. Wow. Will complain to a friend once in a while, but that's it. But by 1986, she starts openly speaking about divorce with a bunch of her friends.
Okay.
At some point I think it was about 84, he had a cancer diagnosis that he ended up coming out of okay, I guess.
He beat it,
was treated, and that seemed to bring them closer together for a minute. One of her friends said, I got the impression that Richard was a private person. I did not get the impression that he was strange. So.
What is that? The man bought his own cop car. He's not a strange man.
Yeah.
He's got a backhoe with tags on it.
For no reason.
Never even started it.
No fucking reason. Yeah, he's still got the plastic thing on the key from the dealership there.
That plays average to you? What are we doing?
That's normal?
Yeah.
No, he's not strange. And it's ... strange. So she was like, I never got the impression that he was strange.
He has a Caterpillar with New England Caterpillar still on it. Yeah.
Jesus.
What's happening?
So by 86, they have 3 kids, 10-year-old Andrew, 7-year-old Thomas, 5-year-old Christina. And all 3 of the kids, by the way, were christened in Denmark. Really? And everybody, including Richard's parents, went over for the christenings. Like it was a big deal.
Jesus.
So in summer of 86, Hell retains a divorce attorney. She's done here. She hired also a private detective named Keith Mayo, who sounds like a made-up cartoon character, but he's a great private detective, as we'll find out. The guy's fucking amazing. Yeah. He's a former cop, and she hired him to gather evidence of cheating against Richard. Okay. November 18th, 1986 comes around. Okay. Really bad winter storm, which, if you know, in the Northeast is uncommon before Christmas time.
Christmas, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Easter around Thanksgiving. That's insane.
January, February, it'll snow, but usually November, December, it snows once in a while, but it's not really that common.
Flurries and it's cold.
It's cold, yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it's warm. So they had a really bad winter storm hit Connecticut this time, and driving conditions are terrible, and the storm it's a mess. Snow and sleet and then snow again happens. So
God damn it.
It's a triple bogey there.
There's ice everywhere.
Everything's frozen, gusty winds. There's utility lines down everywhere from the weight of the snow. Because usually when that happens too, it's at the temperature where the snow is heavy. Trees get heavy when the snow falls on them. They fall down and they fall into power lines, and your power goes out. So electricity went out in this area for several hours during this night.
Jesus,
real bad. Now Southbury, where he's a police officer, where Richard's a police officer. They called the plow guys in to lay salt and plow and do all this shit. So for the next few days and nights, these guys were working nonstop plowing because first you do all the main roads, and they got to get the side roads and all that kind of shit. One of the guys, Joseph Hine, November 20th, he goes at 11:30 p.m. on November 20th. He goes to plow. He goes and picks up his plow to plow during the night. Yeah. It's a sander, I'm sorry. He takes the sander out and starts to sand Route 172, which is one of the main roads there. Mm-hmm. At about 12:30 a.m., he returned to the garage and picked up a snowplow. So he sanded, now he's going to plow. He begins his route along Southbury's Main Street here and goes for several hours plowing and also going around all these trees that are falling in the road and all that kind of shit. At 3:30 a.m., he's plowing along the length of River Road until he came to an intersection of South Flat Hill Road. It's still snowing and sleeting at this point, and it looked, it's that storm, that dark
gray,
that dark gray winter, but it's also kind of bright because it reflects off the snow. Even at night, it's a little bit brighter because of the snow. So he's plowing here. He sees, as he passes the intersection, he sees a truck parked off on the side of the road. Yeah, that's somebody that's maybe they slid off the road
down,
or something. Yeah. He said, I would describe the vehicle as a U-Haul box van.
Oh.
1 to 1.5 ton with dual wheels, he said. So
dually in the back. Yeah.
Dually in the back. He said the box of the van was an off-white or dirty white square type. The cab was orange colored. It's a small U-Haul truck.
Yeah.
So he said the lights were off and it was rolled up, and the roll-up back was closed. So the big sliding door. As he got closer, he saw the truck had a large wood chipper attached to its back.
Okay, so it's dragging a wood chipper. Yeah.
This is on the banks of a river.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the chipper, he said, looked old and well used, and as he passed the U-Haul, he saw a man standing near the driver's door who suddenly began to walk near the back of the truck when he saw the snowplow guy.
Coming. Yeah.
Yeah. The man motioned for the plow to go around him. Like, go ahead, go around me. Yeah, don't worry about it. I don't need help. So the guy continued to plow down the road. 2 hours later, he plowed River Road from the opposite direction because he plows one lane, then he plows the other lane. As he passed this area, the Glen Road area, he saw the same U-Haul with the attached wood chipper once again. And he said, I didn't see anyone in or around the truck or the chipper. But as he passed it, he noticed something different. He said the back of the box was open this time.
Okay.
And he said, I could see some wood chips inside.
Yeah.
He also saw wood chips on the shoulder of the road. He continued to plow. He watched the U-Haul drive away. And he said that was strange that a person would be out so early in the morning in the middle of a storm chipping wood.
Throwing it into the back of the truck, yeah.
This is not a time to chip wood. It's just, you wouldn't do this in the middle of the night during a storm. Who the fuck does that? That's weird. So now, 3 days later, this is the nanny, Dawn Thomas. She's our au pair. She says that this is November 21st. So November 18th was the storm originally Now we're up to 21st. She said in the house, she hadn't seen Hell in a while, in 3 days. She said she noticed a black spot the size of a soccer ball on the carpet in the couple's bedroom.
Yeah.
And offered to clean it. And Richard said, no, don't clean it. And he said, I just spilled kerosene there, so don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
Black kerosene.
Black kerosene. It's the best kind. It burns
kerosene.
Burns so much longer. It's so much better.
Yeah, generally, yeah.
So,
it's thick.
The next day, the au pair said she walked into the bedroom and Richard had removed all the carpets except for a narrow strip around the edge of the room. He also had taken the bed apart and removed the carpet from the bedroom used by the youngest daughter as well. That carpet was gone too. He said that his wife wanted the carpets changed, but she recalled that she had told her that she liked the carpets in both rooms, so since when does she want it changed? So she's not, no one has seen Hell in a few days here. We get to November 30th, 1986. It's been 12 days now, and yeah, people are looking for her here. One is a friend of hers named Jet Romp. That's a great name for a flight attendant. Jette.
Jet Romp?
Jet Romp. Yeah, that is did you change your name to that?
Hi.
Take a romp in the jet with me?
That is certainly that's
Pan
the
Am
name you want
stewardess.
for a flight attendant.
Jet Romp. Holy fuck.
She is my Jet Romp. Good
So
Lord.
she called looking for her friend and said that, it was weird. Richard said that she took off and he doesn't know where she was. And this one's like, she's not going to take off from her job and her kids. That's crazy. Yeah. So the friend said that, that Richard said, oh, relax. You've been watching too many movies. And the friend said, well, why don't you report her missing? And he said, well, she'd be mad at me if I called the police and reported her missing. I'm sure she's just doing something.
Yeah, when she turns up, she's going to be pissed.
So her friend said the last time she spoke with her was on November 15th, 1986, when they had a conversation about her plans to divorce Richard.
Oh.
Yeah, her friend Jet Romp said she was very angry. She had found receipts from charge cards that showed Richard had been buying Christmas gifts with a girlfriend in New Jersey.
Oh,
uh-oh.
my God.
Yep, but they had a conversation. She told Richard, I want to divorce you, and Richard had told her that marriage was for life.
Yeah, but all
Whoa.
right.
Jesus Christ. I guess so.
Fuck, man?
You're not penguins. Relax.
Yeah. Credit card receipts are for life, too.
Yeah, that shit does not go away. Another friend of hers, a flight attendant named Lee Fischerole, said that she telephoned the house, too, and talked to Richard on November 24th, and he told her that Hell had gone to Copenhagen to visit her mother, who was ill.
Okay.
So, and then she called again the 28th, and Richard told her he was, in fact, getting a little worried, too, because he hasn't heard from her. So the friend said, well, can I have the phone number of her mom here and a friend? And I guess because I know her friend who can speak Danish and will call. And so the mother told the friend that the daughter wasn't there and she wasn't expected to be there till April.
Months.
That's when she's going to come to visit. Yeah, so, okay. And she said she didn't know where she could be.
Yeah, you sound impressively well for somebody who's sick.
Yeah, so she called back to tell Richard the news about that, and she said Richard was very abrupt with me. She said he was leaving on a trip, and that was that.
Oh.
So, yep. December 1st comes around here. Okay. December 1st, now Keith Mayo, who is the guy that she had hired,
Private Eye, right.
He calls the cops, and he said, listen, client of mine who's recently, I can't get a hold of her for 2 weeks. She's not around. I'm afraid her husband killed her because she's been wanting to get away from this guy and he's been violent with her before. And she said she's afraid of him and now she's gone for 2 weeks and I can't find her. So
best person she ever hired.
He was adamant. Please investigate this crime now.
Yeah.
Said she left her home, allegedly, according to the husband, on November 19th to drive to Richard's sister's house, but she never showed up at the sister's home and hadn't been heard from since. Her car was later found in an employee parking lot of Pan Am Airlines at Kennedy Airport.
Oh.
But there's no record of her going anywhere. So Richard is saying, well, she must have taken off. If she wanted to get away from me so bad, she has means. She has passport. She can go on a flight to anywhere in the world she wants.
Fly standby anytime she wants. So, also, she told me she was going somewhere on a plane, and that's where her car is. So what the fuck?
That's it. So they talked to Richard the next day, and he says, quote, she was happy and showed no signs of being different or upset. That when she left, he said that he and his wife slept at home. They woke up that morning on the 19th. The plan was for her to go to my sister's house in Westport because we had no power due to the storm, and I haven't seen or heard from her since. That's it. Okay. The police aren't very concerned. They're just not. No. They said it's marital problems, and they said, a lot of times when a spouse leaves another spouse, when there's a lot of problems, they just want some time alone. And they said she has the means and the ways to do this. And so, she'd be the perfect candidate for somebody to do that. So they don't prioritize the case at all.
Just put it in the folder somewhere.
Yeah. All of her friends, though, say she's a devoted mother who wouldn't have left her small children out of nowhere.
Right. She's got 3 kids. Nobody does that.
They said she's a good mom, and they said that Richard had a series of affairs, which were well known. She discovered this recently. She told him that she wanted a divorce. So, I mean, they're worried, the friends. He's telling people different stories, too. He told the au pair she's in Denmark. He told another friend that she was in Denmark, and then she wasn't in Denmark. And so, more time goes by, and Mayo starts complaining. Mayo's like, you're not looking into this. You talked to 3 people, and they said they're worried, and you went, all right, fuck it, and didn't do anything.
And I got somebody that's willing to pay me to do shit for her, and she's not here. I need to pay my mortgage.
So he sent a letter to the police calling for an investigation in what he described as their failure to investigate. He said, as you are aware, I attempted to report Mrs. Crafts missing to the Newtown Police Department on December 1st. At that time, I was aware of certain details of her disappearance, which would lead any detective to believe she did not voluntarily disappear. For unknown reasons, the Newtown Police Department, particularly the Detective Division, refused to treat this matter seriously. Without going into further detail, I strongly recommend that your commission undertake an independent investigation to determine the facts and circumstances surrounding the obvious irresponsibility of the Newtown Police Department's Detective Division.
Oh, he is calling him on the carpet.
Yeah, the police said, hold the Mayo. Let's talk about this. We got problems. Then they said, okay, maybe we are concerned, because they talked to the au pair and get the story there, and they said, well, that sounds fishy. That morning he woke all 3 of his children up at 6:30 a.m., loaded them into the family car with the au pair, and drove over to his sister's house. And then she was supposed to follow. Richard dropped the kids and Dawn off and left almost immediately, and Hell wasn't there, even though she was supposedly had left before Richard.
What the fuck?
She said that Dawn, the Dawn woman, the au pair, told the cops that Richard didn't return to pick them up until later that day at 7 p.m., and still no mom here.
Yeah.
So later that night, Dawn asked where she was, asked Richard, and he said, I don't know. Then the next day, she said she must be in Denmark with her sick mother. And then there's also the stain on the carpet, which they don't like, and the carpet's being gone.
Right.
So they say, hey, Richard, we just need to get to the bottom of everything. So would you mind just clearing yourself with a lie detector test quick polygraph?
Let's talk about it real fast.
He said, sure. He passes the test.
Yeah.
He passes the test. But for some reason, even though he passed the test, he was in the CIA, basically.
Right,
so he knows how to pass a lie detector test.
Sure. I mean, he's aware of drugs. Yeah. He's aware of all kinds of strategy, I'm sure.
He's aware of breathing. They tell you different. There's a lot of, strategies here. One investigator wrote in his report, and it was not a computerized one. It's a guy with a piece of paper that he's looking at. It's different. One investigator wrote in his report that based on the polygraph examination and my numerous conversations with Mr. Crafts, he does not know where his wife is. So they said, yeah. But some detectives said, no, this is weird, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
They really don't like the fact that he goes around in his own little,
police car?
His own little fashioned police car, yeah.
It's bizarre.
His own little weird cosplay of police carring, and they didn't like that. And also, they're getting calls from her friends saying, "What's going on here? What the fuck? Yeah. This is crazy." So there's a few detectives that are a little curious of what's going on. So they decide to call Richard in for another interview.
Let's talk, Rich.
December 11th, they sit him down, and they talk to him. This is 9:20 p.m., and they say, "Richard, did you know that your wife hired a private investigator?" He said, "No." Did you know that the PI documented your relationship with a New Jersey woman? And he said, no. They said, why would your wife tell her friends that she was afraid for herself regarding serving you divorce papers and tell them to check on her if something happened? And he said, I cannot imagine her saying this. It is completely out of character for her to say this.
She did it, bud.
Yep. They said, well, on November 18th, when Hell came home, when and why did she leave? And he said, quote, those answers are in my statement. They know that.
Do you not remember? Yeah.
It's a homicide or a missing person. They ask you the same thing 5 times to see if your story is the same 5 fucking times.
Yeah.
Do that with your 10-year-old, and they'll always crack.
It'll change. Yeah.
It'll change. So they said, what is the story with your bedroom rug? Apparently you removed it or cut some pieces out. Can you explain this to me? And he said, all of the rugs in the house are being removed and replaced. Why?
Well, yeah.
Why now?
That's not an explanation.
When my wife's been missing for a couple of weeks and my kids are really, it's almost the holidays too, and my kids are really, worried about where's mom and all that. I like to do major, renovation projects.
When we leave off, if I leave for a couple of days, I come back and she's done something nice for me, like
it's just the
new
way
chimney.
It is. Yeah, you know how it goes. So he said, what was spilled on the rug in your bedroom? And he said, kerosene, Richard did. They asked him, did you cut pieces out of the rug? Richard said, yes, 2 feet at the time. It's easier to remove it that way. It is?
Is it?
Easier to cut chunks out of it than just to rip it up from the corner?
It's easier to roll that motherfucker and carry it out.
I've torn carpet up. You start at the corner, you rip a piece out, then you get the whole end, and then you fucking pull it and roll it. Yeah. That's what you do. And
so you get the whole thing at once rather than several trips trimming it out.
Cutting 2 feet at a time out.
It's not a fucking hedge. You don't trim it.
He said, what did you do with the rug you took out of the bedroom? And Richard said, dumped the bedroom rug in the Newtown landfill a week ago. It was blue in color. Yeah. They said, why have you been telling everyone different things about your wife being missing, like her mother being sick? And he said, I didn't want to say my wife was gone and I didn't know where she was. Like it was an embarrassment.
Yeah.
So they said,
being rejected.
Yeah. They said, has she received any mail since she's been missing? And he said, no, she's gotten no letters since she left. She usually gets about 2 letters a week. Okay. So they asked him that. His demeanor was very, plain calm, spoken. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they didn't like it, but they really don't have anything.
What else are you going to do?
So they let him go.
Yeah.
Christmas Day, they found out that he had taken his kids to Florida for the holidays. So they execute a search warrant on the house while he's not there.
Oh.
So they don't want to deal with him.
Yeah.
They bring in Dr. Henry Lee to be present. Now, Dr. Henry Lee at the time was a world famous, the best. Now he's been completely disgraced as a total hack at this point. Well, no, he lied to people for 40 fucking years.
Can't do that.
How many people went to jail or didn't go to jail because this guy went up and went, blah, 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 and it was bullshit. So,
Henry.
Yeah, God damn it. So they bring him there. They come in, they look around everything. They found that it was completely fucking in disarray. They said furniture was strewn about, dirty clothes were everywhere, dishes and kitchen shit was unwashed, and the sink and countertops. It looks like a frat party happened the night before.
Why would you live like that?
He said mattresses were on the bare floor in the living room, along with boxes of toys and other items. The carpets were all pulled up. A freezer was located and searched. There was no body in there. They're like, maybe she's in there. They said, though, they looked through that. This is a new freezer, though, by the way, that we don't know about. Yeah. During the search, they had tons of weapons that were found and tagged and cataloged and everything like that. So that's what they do. Several Smith & Wesson 357s, a few 38s, a Colt Python 38 revolver, Ruger carbine rifles, Finnish semi-automatic weapons, 12-gauge pump shotguns, Winchester rifles, Beretta handguns with clips, 380 automatic handgun, 2 hand grenades, Beretta crossbow, Walther PPK handgun, 2 9mm semi-automatic handguns, Heckler Koch 45 caliber, over and under style universal shotgun, numerous clips, and an assortment of ammunition. Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch up here or a total makeover.
Yeah.
Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing.
No.
They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently wherever your problem areas are. Tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about our stylish friends at Quince. That's right, let's go elevate your styles, people. Yeah. Get it going, look good out there, and you can do it now without breaking your wallet, without breaking the bank, because at Quince, you can get high-end, versatile pieces at prices we can all actually afford, which is very nice. You want to get good stuff that lasts and it's good, and they have quality stuff that's very affordable, and you can do like we did, upgrading our stuff here, while still being a very reasonable price. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. It's all quality stuff. You're going to love it. Trust us, it looks good. And I've got the leather jacket. It's a very high-quality item. Real nice, soft leather. Yeah. Jimmie's got his linen pants he's rocking.
Yeah, they're terrific.
Come on, be like us. Be fashionable. Get in there with Quince. Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/smalltownmurder for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/smalltownmurder to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about a very cool place, Thrive Market. Yes, we are both looking to get into the healthy swing this year. The problem is I don't know what's in everything, and I don't know if even I'm qualified to even read the labels to know if that's good or that's bad.
Right.
There's chemicals in things, and there's things floating around. I don't know what I'm doing out there. One of my favorite features, and I know you were talking to me about this, is the Healthy Swap Scanner in the Thrive Market app. Yeah, it's simple. You scan any item, and it'll instantly suggest a cleaner, healthier grocery alternative, which is
it's great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding these safe, healthy foods. For example, like I'm trying to get my protein intake up for energy. I'm always moving around. I need stuff, and I love that you can filter their site by the high protein options.
Nice.
It's very cool, and you can personalize this portion, and you can put filters on it, and get ready. You should be ready for a junk-free start to 2025. Get ready for it and head to thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder and get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/smalltownmurder, thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So
he is armed to the teeth, man.
Dr. Lee did luminol tests in various locations and found positive for blood. They said, of course, we were looking for any evidence of someone attempting to dispose of a corpse, is what he wrote. Yeah. The blood was on some seized towels. They tested positive here. The blood was O positive, which was the same as hell.
Yeah.
So, but people bleed on towels in their house.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, you could have a pimple or
I bleed on
cut yourself
every
shaving.
single one of my towels. Yeah.
She shaves her legs. Whatever. So investigator Keith Mayo's had enough here.
Okay.
He's had enough of this bullshit.
Yeah.
Once he learned about the rugs being cut out and everything, he goes, okay,
he swears
fuck
himself
this.
in and takes over.
He figured out where the garbage from his house gets deposited. Which
grid?
Which dump it's in.
Yeah.
The Canterbury dump, which is about 2 hours away. He recruited some helpers, some garbage guys that he knew, and for the next several days, he went to the dump and sifted through mountains of fucking trash.
Wow.
Yes, and he threw everything. They ended up finding a portion of rug that was identical to the rug at the residence. He was sure it was the missing piece. It also had stains that appeared to be human blood. He took that to the laboratory and said, "Here, idiots, I did it for you. I
found it.
Found it." December 30th, then they talked to the plow driver. That's when the plow driver tells them about the U-Haul and the wood chipper and all that kind of shit. And then they do some research and they find out that Richard Crafts rented a wood chipper from Darien Rental Service on November 18th.
What?
At a cost of $967.50. Wow. Yep, he signed the slip.
No fucking way.
Yep. Another receipt indicated that he owned a chainsaw that he purchased in 1981, which they're going to talk about, and he bought a new freezer a couple days later.
Huh.
Okay. Detectives head to the wood chipping site now. Yeah, it's on on a river known as Lake Zor. It's a river known as Lake Zor. Yeah. Okay. They saw piles of wood chips along the banks of the river, which is weird. Never seen that before. I've seen a lot of rivers. Never seen that. There also seem to be small pieces of green plastic shit strewn about in there.
Everywhere, yeah.
So a detective got down on his hands and knees and sifted through it. And all this, he's looking for everything. He noticed some scraps of shredded paper, partially covered up by debris as well. And he also found a few pieces of mail. He looked on the mail, one envelope, you could read, Miss Hell L. Crafts, 5 Newfield Lane, Newtown, Connecticut.
No fucking way. Her address withstood.
Holy shit. And her name,
Yahtzee.
too. So then all the cops come here.
Yeah.
And every inch of the ground has gone over, photographed everything. They found numerous strands of blonde hair that we'll talk about, bone fragments, fabrics, cloth, plastic items, wood chips, and other shit. They bring everything into the lab here. They also find out, by the way, November 17th, Richard purchased a freezer. Freezer one day, wood chipper the next.
Wow.
They led to the discovery of 2,660 strands of blonde hair.
They found that many.
69 slivers of human bone, 5 droplets of human blood, 2 teeth, a truncated piece of human skull, 3 ounces of, quote, human tissue, just flesh.
Oh, my God.
A portion of a human finger, 1 fingernail, and 1 portion of a toenail. Now, there's also...
He blasted his wife through a wood chipper of somebody else's?
Yep. Oh, by the way, they also went to the bottom of the Housatonic River during the search, and they find a steel chainsaw, the brand, the steel chainsaw.
S-G-I-H-L, yeah.
With its serial number filed off, which normally,
that is
like,
terrifying.
That's what a Baltimore drug dealer does before he, shoots up a fucking corner and throws it in a sewer grate. That's not...
That is the scariest chainsaw on the planet.
Ever.
Don't touch it.
In the chainsaw, in the teeth of the blade, they were able to find remnants of human tissue, blonde hair, and a number of blue fibers in the teeth of the blade.
What?
The blue fibers matched the rug inside the home.
Did he roll her up in the carpet and cut her up in the carpet?
They were able to restore the serial number even below the scratching. They were able to do it with some
use some of that
infrared shit or whatever. Yeah. And it matched a receipt belonging to Richard Crafts indicating he purchased that chainsaw on January 9th, 1981 for $644.95.
The man used $1,500 worth of power tools.
Yep. And it's his he threw it in there.
Holy.
Yep. Keith Mayo ended up finding the receipt for it and bringing it to the cops as well. He's been helping out a lot. That is insane.
Unbelievable.
Forensic odontology analysis was able to prove conclusively that the remains, those were her teeth. So if they're her teeth, it's probably her blonde hair and everything else here. Yeah. One specimen was a tiny piece of fragment of tooth with a piece of jawbone still attached. A forensic odontologist tested the tooth, testified later that the tooth was removed from the mouth with traumatic force that shattered it off and shook the bone with it. He said if a dentist had removed the tooth, the base of the tooth would be clean and absent of jawbone residue. He said, in my opinion, the fracture occurred by blunt force that fractured it to the center line and took the jaw with it. So,
Jesus.
Since there's blood in the bedroom, the cops assume that he bludgeoned her at the foot of the bed during the early morning hours of November 19th, maybe when she was making her bed or changing the sheets.
Yeah.
They speculate that he carried his wife's body to the basement where he just hooked up a new freezer that he got 2 days earlier.
Yeah.
He placed her in the freezer, then woke up the au pair, told them, you should go to my sister's house.
What?
And, then picked the kids up, and they believed sometime during the next day he took the frozen body, or that day he took the body, then frozen solid, to a secluded piece of property that he owned in Newtown, just a property. That's where he used the chainsaw to chop up her body and returned them to the freezer. Then the next day, when it got dark, he took those packages wrapped in plastic garbage bags to Lake Zor, where he ran them through the wood chipper.
Oh my God!
This is horrific as it gets. They said what he didn't realize, because it was dark out probably, and it was snow and everything else, that he was shooting her into the river. Not all the parts made it into the water, and all this shit landed on the side and didn't quite get to the water.
Oh, boy.
And she had mail in her pocket, and that's what happened.
And he didn't know.
Didn't realize it. Yeah.
She saved her. She solved her own case.
Yeah.
With junk mail.
Her and Keith fucking Miracle Whip over there did it up.
Unbelievable.
So January 11th, 1987, an arrest warrant is issued for him.
Yeah.
This is fucking hilarious, by the way. That night, 9 p.m., a dozen Connecticut state troopers and detectives go to his house, 5 Newfield Lane, to arrest him.
Yeah.
They surround his house, and they call him on the phone.
Yeah.
And they said, come outside to surrender. We got a warrant. He said, quote, I'm tired. I'll take care of it in the morning. There's 15 cops in your yard, bro. We've already put tape up around here. You're like, they said, no. You really need to come out now. He got pissy with him.
What?
He got a little twatty with him. He said, quote, don't call me back, and hung up on them.
Not tonight.
Not tonight, I said. I'll be there in the morning. So they're like, shit. And they don't really want to rush the house because they know he's got an arsenal in there.
Right.
So they're like, fuck, we don't want to have to, get shot and shoot this guy. So they wait, and finally, they said his children were still inside the house asleep, he said. At 12:30 a.m., he told the cops over the phone, I'll be out in 5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And then a little while later, he came out and surrendered.
What?
He was taken to the jail, and his bail was set at $750,000. So,
oh my God, I can't believe he came out peaceful.
He came out. The kids are inside. I guess he didn't want to have a shootout with the kids there. That would look bad.
I'm shocked. A man that can puff his wife into
out.
or his kids. Yeah. He shot his wife into a river/lake.
It's cold, man. Cold fucking
wow.
water. The neighbor said, quote, it's like something out of Edgar Allan Poe. That's what, like, the next door neighbor.
I'd say
it's worse than that.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's more like fucking Friday the 13th or something. Yeah, this is
unbelievable.
Another one said, quote, I'm kind of shocked it happened in Newtown, of all places. Of course.
Wait a few years.
Yeah, you won't be so shocked. Since his arrest, in the 2 days since he was arrested, a major movie studio already took interest in the case. A representative of Warner Brothers visited Keith Mayo 2 days after Richard Crafts was arrested to discuss a possible deal for the dramatization of the case.
So you're telling me Hollywood's been devoid of ideas for 40 years?
Yeah, they just showed up 2 days after he was arrested.
Here's a new idea.
Mayo said he would do it if the proceeds could go to the kids.
That's nice.
Because they're going to need it because Dad's going to be in prison, we hope.
Yeah.
So during the trial here, the state's attorney says that she feared for her life because she should have feared for her life. Her husband had police training and connections stemming from his service in the CIA.
Right.
All this type of shit. They said that, it's obvious she was afraid and for good reason.
Right.
The defense attorney said, though, that the body fragments found in that area here, we don't think they even belong to her. And they said, we think she's probably still alive. That's the defense.
Okay. I mean, that's some balls, man.
That is fucking wild. Meanwhile, all her friends are going to testify she would never leave her 3 small children for Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's insane.
That's not happening.
That is wild. So Dr. Henry Lee testifies about all the thousands of pieces of everything. They said they were able to determine about 65 pieces of bone were cut with a heavy type cutting edge that produced a crushing and cutting force. He said the human bone, the tissue, human fibers, and hair were all mixed together with wood chips and vegetative debris, but most importantly, the same machine cut it all.
Yeah.
Also, the teeth here. The way they did it, they said they took several hundred x-rays of the recovered tooth from all possible angles, using a series of 5 sets of x-rays that were taken of her teeth between 80 and 86. The guy performed a comparison between the evidence and the images of her teeth and said the recovered tooth matched the lower left bicuspid on the x-ray charts. And he said he was 100% medically absolutely certain of the positive comparison.
That is that tooth.
That's that tooth. Her friend Gertrude Horvath testifies here. They said, this is the defense said, did Hel have any indicate any hesitancy about going into her house? And she said no. That was that. So when Richard was home at one time when she dropped her off. The nanny testifies as well, Dawn Marie Thomas, and she testifies about the stuff we already told you about. And she said as they left the house after the snowstorm with the kids, the youngest kid realized she left her gloves inside, but Richard refused to let her go back in the house and get them. He just, get the fuck out.
Snowstorm, yeah.
Mom's dead, get out. That's it. So that is very, very interesting. So also the carpet spot, the prosecutor, there's that. They testify about the kerosene stain, the au pair does. The prosecutor asked the au pair about a freezer that the couple kept in the basement, and they said the freezer was gone after Hel disappeared and that it was replaced by a new freezer. That's not great. Wow. Dawn said she asked Richard Crafts about the freezer, and he told her the old one was broken, but Dawn Thomas said it wasn't broken. I've used it. It's not broken.
Put shit in it every week.
Yeah. Richard Crafts' sister testifies that Richard has never expressed any emotion about his wife's disappearance. She describes Hel as her sister-in-law. She said she was good friends with her, too. She said they had planned to take their family skiing in February of 87. They made reservations at Okemo for a long weekend. I think President's Week in February, she said. She said that Hel had sent a deposit.
Oh.
Now, she also testifies that her brother Richard told her he knew that all of his wife's friends think that he killed her.
Yeah.
He said, quote, they think I've chopped off her head. That's very specific. Yeah. That's interesting here. So they more testifying about the money things, who controlled the money and that sort of thing. They said from November 17th on, have you seen him demonstrate any emotions, any concern, any sorrow about her disappearance?
Yeah.
No, is her answer. None. Even if you were in the middle of a divorce and were apart, you'd be like, hey, the kids want to know where mom is.
Yeah. That's fucked, man.
Even if you hated her, you'd be like, hey, kind of want the kids to have a mom here. So
have a half day today because the kids need to see you.
Yeah. So by the way, their whole defense is nobody, no crime. Hey,
Again.
That's the whole fucking defense. Nobody, that's not her. Nobody, no crime. Sorry, don't know what to tell you. That's life.
We've got 2,000 pieces of hair and her address on the riverbank.
If they were attached to a body, then you'd have a crime.
Maybe, yeah.
But no body, no crime. Hey,
So the barber emptied his bag there. Not my problem.
Not my fault. There's 3. This is a 3-month trial.
What?
So much evidence, so many pieces of evidence. They had to go over all these little pieces of evidence. So many witnesses.
God. Yeah.
The jury deliberates for 17 days. About what? I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, what are they talking about?
17 days in, they come back and say, hopelessly deadlocked. Hung jury.
Get out of here.
Yep. One person would not crack. Everyone else said guilty from the start. 17 days, one person held out and would not give in. Oh, my
God.
The one juror said it was like reasoning with a child. He had a real difficulty retaining. He's an idiot. I think he has an ex-wife he hates, is what it is. I hate, that's what it's about.
If I need to make her disappear, I don't want to go to jail for it. That's all.
Wow. Another juror said that, quote, it wasn't chaos, it was hell in there.
Uh-huh.
They said they tried to convince the lone holdout, but in the end, that he simply refused to participate any further. He just crossed his arms and said, I'm done.
Really?
So 100 witnesses, 650 exhibits, 53 days, a mistrial.
That's a man that definitely hates his wife. There's no other way to explain that. Yeah.
So they retry him though in 1990. Good. This was 88 was the trial. 90s
there's the benefit of The high fucking taxes of that place.
Yeah, we got plenty of money to
we can
retry
try
this
people over
bitch.
and over again. I don't give a shit.
It's an exact replay of the first trial. Exact same witness list, exact same evidence. It's just a replay of the second trial. The prosecution in closing said it's difficult to imagine a more sadistic and surreptitious disposal of human remains. Whoever did this would have had to have nerves of steel, ice in their veins, disciplined. He'd be sick otherwise, trained and obviously totally free of emotion. Like a CIA guy that's been in war.
Yeah, that's
stuff
doing
like that.
illegal bombings.
Yeah. No other human being could do that. Most of us couldn't even do it to a rat. The person who came within 3/4 of an ounce of committing the perfect crime, pointing to Richard. There he is.
Yeah.
The defense said, no body to prove the death means no murder. That's literally what he said. He said all they have is a handful of hair, a few clots of blood, and a fingernail with traces of red nail polish, part of a tooth, a dental cap, mangled bits of bone, a thumb, and a toe. That's a lot.
Marley.
That's it. Nobody, no crime. They said the toe and thumb could only be determined to be human. Some of the blood and hair and the nail polish were similar to the alleged victim, but only the tooth and the dental cap were conclusively hers. And the identification was immediately challenged by an expert for the defense. He said, quote, we have less than 3% of the hair on the human body, less than 2/3 of an ounce, or less than 1% of bones in the human body. And with respect to the blood, less than 1/4 of 1% of that. But they say to you that this is hell crafts. There's no evidence of a murder.
Jesus Christ.
He said if she wanted to disappear, to say the heck with all this, nobody would be in more of a position to do it than her. Wouldn't she show up during the murder trial to go, hey, it's me.
Leave him alone. Yeah.
Surprise witness. Dead lady.
They explained exactly what happens to a body when you throw it through a fucking wood chipper.
It's, horrible shit. So this verdict comes in way quicker than 17 days, and he is guilty as fuck this time. They find him guilty.
Yeah.
They said, one of the jurors said that he could only recall one vote that wasn't unanimous that they took. They said in the beginning, 9 jurors voted guilty and 3 were undecided. And once they were talked to and showed, oh, yeah, that's that, and the dental evidence, they went, yeah, you're right, and they did it. The second vote was unanimous guilty. Done.
Why else would her teeth be out there?
Yeah, who just sprays their teeth through a wood chipper, then goes out of town? So...
Yeah, I imagine she'd take both of those teeth with her if she was going somewhere.
During the sentencing, Richard says, a great deal has been said about my apparent lack of emotion. He has ice water in his veins. I have feelings like everyone else. Okay. That's all. And the judge says, I'm about to hurt them. You, sir, may fuck off 50 years in prison. How's that?
Connecticut is very, very kind.
Yeah, well, he's late 40s right now.
He shot a woman through a wood chipper.
It's a lot, yeah. In 93, he loses his appeal for a new trial. Okay, so not going to get that. In 2020, he is released from prison. He's out. He was 82 at the time, and they housed him at a transitional housing program for veterans in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
What?
Yep, they said he served a dramatically shorter sentence for different reasons, mostly because of an old sentencing law known as statutory good time. That law, because he was convicted in 1990, which has since been changed, allowed for large amounts of time to be taken off your sentence as a reward for good behavior and jailhouse jobs. So,
wow.
Yes. So they said had he been sentenced after the new law had passed, he wouldn't have been eligible for any time off his sentence.
Got it.
And he would have been in there.
So every day's like a day and a half or some shit like that.
Yeah, basically. They said he's set to finish his sentence in June completely.
Oh, my God. This man's a free man.
Oh, he's free. Based on his sentence and without this period of supervision, Kraft would not have had any assistance transitioning back into the community. So for us, it's our job to prepare even someone of extreme violence because they're going to go home. Now, in 1989, a film called The Wood Chipper Massacre was made where children kill their aunt, freeze her corpse, dismember it, then put it in a wood chipper. Exact replica.
Yeah.
Also, this is the inspiration for Fargo's wood chipper.
Is it really?
It absolutely is. Yep, Joel and Ethan Coen said that. The pilot episode of Forensic Files was about this.
No shit.
Very first one in 96.
The one that set up A&E's contract with him. Wow.
Yep. 97, New Detectives outlined it in an episode. 98, it was on the History Channel's television series Crime Stories. And in July 2012, Investigation Discovery did it again and checked it out.
This is the first man to actually do it.
Yeah, he's the first one that we know about, that actually cut his wife up with a fucking chainsaw and then put her through a wood chipper. That's why.
Unbelievable. A wood chipper.
That, everybody, is Newtown, Connecticut. Holy shit. If you like that show, tell the world about it. Get on whatever app you're listening on. Give a nice review for us. It really, really helps us out a lot. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com. Live shows all throughout the year here. April 5th, Sacramento. April 6th, San Francisco. 420, April 20th, Saturday night, virtual live show. Anywhere in the world with internet, you can have a live show just like a regular live show, but in your goddamn house with your own booze and whatever else you got there.
Let's get after it.
Enjoy that. It's available for 2 weeks after that, too. So you can watch it as many times as you want and have a lot of fun with it. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com, Patreon.com/crime and sports, all the bonus shit. This week, chess guy with a vibrator up his ass, Hans Niemann. DB Cooper, we know who that is for Small Town Murder, jumped out of a plane. He's a sketch that we haven't know who the fuck he is there. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Do that. Keep hanging out with us. Also, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Follow us. Do all that shit. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
It takes one guy out there to say, who's that Kyle who thinks he can just get on a microphone on a podcast and start publicizing this?
From iHeart Podcasts and Tenderfoot TV comes a new true crime podcast, Crook County.
I got recruited into the mob when I was 17 years old.
Meet Kenny, an enforcer for the legendary Chicago outfit.
And that was my mission, to snuff the life out of this guy.
He lived a secret double life as a firefighter-paramedic for the Chicago Fire Department.
I had a wife and I had 2 children. Nobody knew anything.
People are dying. Is he doing this every night?
Torn between 2 worlds.
I'm covering up murders that these cops are doing.
He was a freaking crazy man.
We don't know who he is, really.
He is my father, and I had no idea about any of this until now. Welcome to Crook County. Available now. Listen for free on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.